So I can't even believe we're having to entertain this conversation, but I don't know why I'm surprised anymore. But there are people that are actually suggesting that Bernie Sanders cut a deal with Elizabeth Warren, which would guarantee the VP nomination for her and an endorsement for him. We're going to talk about it. Thanks for tuning in. What's going on, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of Mikai Says Sukasa. And of course, as always, I am your humble host, Niko House. I want to thank you all for bearing with me. By the way, I've been getting all the emails. I've been getting everything about the election integrity issues and all that good stuff. Video suggestions. I've been getting everything, but y'all, I've been jet lagged for 2 days. I'm still actually jet lagged right now, but I just couldn't go another day without seeing your pretty faces, at least virtually. I can't see you in person, but you know what I mean. But over the next couple of days, we'll be addressing all of that stuff. But I did say, so recently I did a video basically addressing Crystal Ball's suggestion, for Warren to select for Bernie to select Warren as the VP pick in hopes that she would drop out, then go on to endorse Bernie, and then campaign for Bernie, that in hopes that it would get the white suburban vote, which she said is the most fluid. But if you've ever looked at the white suburban vote historically, that's always the most fluid. It's not really a reason to sell out your values. Now, in that particular video, I was addressing Crystal in the context of Crystal's tweet or statement, in the context of the greater statements from Crystal Ball over the last couple of weeks, specifically involving race. But I did say I didn't want to take too much focus off of that particular discussion, because in a different video I would be addressing just the pure idiocy that is this strategy of nominating Elizabeth Warren as vice president. So let me just say, from a strategic perspective, that is possibly the worst vice presidential pick that you could possibly do. I mean, listen, what are your goals, right? That's the first question you have to ask. What are your goals? Well, first of all, I would probably imagine that Bernie's first goal is to beat Donald Trump in November. Of course, he wants to win the Democratic primary. Now, you also have to ask, does picking Elizabeth Warren further either of those goals? So those are two questions. So can you win the general with Warren? Can you win the primary with Elizabeth Warren? And do you need Elizabeth Warren, of course, to win the primary? Then you have to ask, what exactly is your goal as a movement? Or what are your goals as a movement? And does Elizabeth Warren further those goals in any substantive way? That's another question that you, of course, need to ask yourself. So first of all, let's go to the primary. Does Bernie Sanders need Elizabeth Warren to win the primary election? Crystal Ball's argument is that he needs her for the affluent white vote, except for there are a lot of factors that are not being considered, which is in the states where the affluent or suburban white voters are basically the only dominant demographic in the state. And in those same states, by the way, where there are voter verified paper ballots and paper ballot backups, where everything is hand counted through paper ballots, Bernie wins those states. Bernie wins states with a bunch of suburban white people. He won New Hampshire handedly with a bunch of suburban white people. He won Iowa with a bunch of suburban white people voting for him. Now, if you want to make the argument that elites and the wealthy white people won't vote for him, well, that's not going to be helped by Elizabeth Warren, because she's kind of already portrayed herself as this fighter, quote unquote, of the super wealthy elites. But also, super wealthy elites don't have the demographic to sway the election one way or the other. Does he win 90% of the suburban vote? No, but nobody does. Does he win 30 to 40% in a lot of scenarios where the race is fair and we don't have major discrepancies in exit polling and election integrity issues, going crazy in any particular state, yes, he does well enough. But the goal isn't to just bring in or to win affluent votes or win suburban votes. It's also to bring new people into the process. Now, the only way you can bring new people into the process is if you are different than everything else that has been offered. Bernie Sanders has brought so many new people into the process because he has been different than everything that's been offered. Now, with that being said, maybe there's this logic that, if Warren endorsed Bernie, her supporters would then, that 20% here, 15, 16% there, 8 to 9% in other areas. But there's this idea that maybe those people would go to Bernie if they leave Warren, because Warren's no longer in the race. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's probably a better question to be asked at that point. Does Warren need to endorse Bernie for those supporters to go to Bernie Sanders? Does Bernie Sanders need to make vice president or make her a promise to be vice president for those supporters to go to Bernie Sanders? Does Warren need to be on that ticket in any way, form, or fashion? See, we have to remember, not too long ago, there was a reason why Warren was literally nothing. She was nobody as far as her prospects to win this race. And then all of a sudden, she was propped up, right? And she became relevant. See, Elizabeth Warren was being portrayed as the media darling, but the media darling in the context of being the heir apparent to Bernie Sanders. Well, if you like Bernie Sanders, then you should like our Bernie Sanders 1.3 with glasses. She lies 3 times as much as the average Bernie Sanders, right? She was being propped up as the heir apparent. They were saying, why would you vote for Bernie Sanders if Warren's just as progressive? That's what they were saying. So how many followers, how many people that were supporting big structural change, like Bernie, which a lot of her supporters already say, that went to Warren because of what the mainstream media was saying, because of what the Young Turks were saying, Sam Cedar was saying, MSNBC, CNN, Washington Post, etc., etc. All these people were making this claim that Warren was almost Bernie, just not quite enough, but just enough that if you're voting because you're a woman, then it's okay. That's why a lot of those supporters went to Elizabeth Warren to begin with, and then they overcommitted and they just stayed there for loyalty purposes. But if you've seen over the last 2 or 3 days, her most staunch supporters are switching to Bernie, even as she continues to attack Bernie Sanders. So we have to ask the other question in that scenario, like, do you need Warren to get her supporters? Also, if Warren supporters don't go to Bernie, what is the other option? Grope 'em up Joe? You think a bunch of identitarians are about to go vote for Joe Biden? Bro, they can't stand the man. They can't stand him. Her employees, for the most part, won't even go to Biden. They don't like him. He represents the quote unquote old guard. And they know that when Biden gets into power, it's very unlikely that all these demographics who believe they should be where they're at strictly because of their identity and not because of their qualifications will get that opportunity in a Biden administration. With Warren, you'll get hired just because you're black. You'll get hired just because you're a woman. Now, granted, the black women on her campaign came out and straight up said they felt tokenized, and that's exactly why they left. Now, I'm not saying you'll actually be able to do anything substantive if you're in her administration, but they do feel that they'll be able to get the job title at least because Elizabeth Warren, kind of fancies herself an identitarian as well. All she wants to talk about is her being a woman rather than all the fucked up things she's done to women. So where the identitarians going to go? They're not going to Biden. They're going to go to Bernie. They got choice between 2 old white dudes. Okay, which one isn't racist? This isn't that hard. So those suburban white people, quote unquote, they went to Warren because they thought they were just getting a younger female version of Bernie. Now, over the last couple of weeks, I'm sure that's been more and more apparent that it is not the case. And they've kind of been with Warren. But now that she's dropped out, they're not going to go back Biden. That's not what's going to happen. Also, the next question you have to ask is, when you get to the general election, will you be able to beat Donald Trump with Elizabeth Warren? And this is the question that I feel does not get answered enough. People want to push this off to the side like it is not reality. But in my opinion, people are not actually pushing it off to the side in their brains. They're pushing it off to the side when they're giving this commentary about whether or not Warren should be VP, because they know it's stupid to think that Warren is a viable VP, at least viable in any winning ticket as VP in the general election, going up against Donald J. Trump. It is not realistic. It is not tactical. It is not strategic. What does, like, just let's just say Warren wasn't like an abysmal snake in the grass who lies every chance she gets and takes every opportunity to throw Bernie Sanders under the bus and along with his movement. Let's just say all that wasn't true. What does Warren actually add to the ticket? What does Warren add to the ticket? Seriously, what does she add? She adds white voters. Plenty of those guys. Plenty of them. I'm sorry. There's plenty of white voters. They're going to go wherever the hell they want to go. And to be completely honest with you, suburban white voters don't sway the election one way or the other in the general. Working class, blue collar union voters do. You know what you're doing by forcing, because that's what you would essentially have to do, is force Bernie Sanders to pick Warren as VP. What you're doing is setting Trump up for a layup, ladies and gentlemen. That's what we would call in politics a goddamn layup. What do I mean? Well, let's start off with the fucking obvious. Hey, people, look at me. I'm the guy who is running on I'm a civil rights platform, right? I'm a former civil rights activist. I got Cornel West to the right of me. I got Killer Mike to the left of me. I got Nina Turner in front of me. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bring on the indigenous woman, quote unquote, the indigenous woman who threw every person in Standing Rock right under the bus, who plagiarized a cookbook and then called it Pow Wow Chow, who touted her Native American credentials to such a degree that Harvard felt comfortable enough calling her the first Native American woman and first woman of color that they hired. Then, of course, she lied. She took the bait from Donald Trump and then proved, oh shit, just kidding, you were lying about being Native American. And by the way, not only were you lying, but it's the total opposite. Your grandfather literally participated in the genocide of Native Americans to make things worse, to make matters even worse than what they were. You took the bait from Donald Trump, then you refused to apologize. In fact, you're still going around pretending like you are Native American. Now, if I'm Donald Trump, ladies and gentlemen, you think I'm going to spend time critiquing Bernie Sanders? Or am I going to take every single opportunity I get to go at Elizabeth Warren? Now, one of the things that brought Trump a lot of success in 2016 was that he wasn't trying to appeal to Republicans. He wasn't trying to appeal to Democrats. He was trying to appeal to this vast ocean of independent voters. The same independent voter base that as of a couple of weeks ago now has more registrations, if you will, more members than the Republican Party. So before the Republicans had more people registered. The independents already outpaced the Democrats. But now the independents have outpaced both the Democrat and Republican parties. And Trump's strength was appealing to them by saying, by basically asserting, I'm not your average Democrat, nor am I going to let them bully me. Yeah, that was a lie. But he said, I'm not your average Republican, excuse me. I'm not going to let them bully me. And I'm damn sure not going to let them Democrats on the other side bully me. He cheered for WikiLeaks. He cheered on Julian Assange. He celebrated whistleblowers. He actually criticized Hillary Clinton where it mattered. Now, Bernie, if he selected Elizabeth Warren, that would simply be another check in the box for Bernie looking more and more to the outside observer like your average Democrat. The more he looks like a Democrat, the least likely he is to beat Donald Trump. It's a simple calculus. Trump won because there were enough people registered Republican to go out and vote Republican no matter what, because that's what happens. And he didn't even care. He didn't care if you're a Republican. He was still going to trash the Republican establishment and still going to trash the Democratic establishment. Do you think that he was unaware of what WikiLeaks did to the Bush administration? He knew. He didn't care. Once again, whether or not he actually is outside of the establishment is not the question. I'm saying what he campaigned on and what cost him a victory. You bring Elizabeth Warren in, bro, you know how many people value strength, ideological consistency, you know, having a spine, things like that in their president, as they should. You picking Elizabeth Warren after she stabbed you in the back over and over and over and over and over and over again. You picking Elizabeth Warren after she stabbed the movement in the back, after she dragged us, after she co-opted your message only to turn around and try and use it against you. If you did that, you would be sealing your fate. He would call you out. Oh yeah, you picked Elizabeth Warren. Why? Because the establishment told you to. So what's your administration going to look like? A lot like the Democrats? You're going to have more Obama people? You're going to have more of this? You're going to have more of that? Trump ain't about to play the policy game with Bernie. He knows he can't beat Bernie on policy. He's going to use every ad hominem attack he can to impugn the character and the integrity and the inconsistency, if he would nominate Warren, of Bernie Sanders. The people united. Thank you very much for the super chat. If Warren snowflakes over Bernie supporters, she's not even ready for the Trumpers. 100%. I 100% agree. Some part of me thinks that she doesn't want to win. Part of me thinks she just wants sympathy. Like, not even joking. I'm not even sure if she approached Bernie for the VP spot. Wallace West, I would not vote for Bernie if Warren's VP. Can't say I blame you much, because I will not be voting for him either if Warren's VP. Understand, it's not just a matter of like these I feel like some people invent optics. Like they don't dig deep. They don't dig deep. They don't dig to see what the exit polls are actually looking like. And then of course you have to cross-check these exit polls with the results, because the exit polls sometimes, or they look at the results and not the exit polls. And then they look at the exit polls from one state but not the next state. Or they overreact, or they freak out, or they react based off of a narrative that the mainstream media has put out in front of them. But you can't do that. You have to take a step back, take a deep breath, and remember history, because I guarantee you this: Trump's opposition research team will absolutely remember Warren's history, and they will absolutely remember Bernie's. And if he capitulates, if he allows Elizabeth Warren to be the VP, first of all, I don't even think you get out the primary if you do that. You will effectively lose votes in every single open primary state where there were conservatives willing to give you a chance. You'll lose every single Tulsi Gabbard vote. That's for damn sure. You'll lose every single potential would have been Trump voter who was leaning towards you because they thought that you were an heir apparent to Trump. But just like, what do you think Pence is? Pence is basically Trump's Elizabeth Warren. But actually, I don't know. I would consider Elizabeth Warren closer to the left's Sarah Palin. Actually, that's a pretty damn good analogy. Elizabeth Warren is basically the left's Sarah Palin. Possibly worse, though. At the end of the day, I want us to win. Whatever personal little identitarian investment you have into this idea that a white woman could break the glass ceiling, get it out of your head. Stop being selfish. It's not a winning strategy. It's nothing to do with her being a woman. It's just not a winning strategy. You can replace Tulsi, or you can replace Warren with Tulsi or Nina or even Barbara Lee and get the desired result that you were looking for. Now, granted, it would have been smarter to announce Nina or Barbara Lee prior to the Southern Firewall. That's a discussion for a different day. But you can get the same results with either three of those women. You get winning results. But what's Warren gonna campaign on? Green bombs? Almost Medicare for all, kinda. I'm a woman who lied about getting fired for being pregnant. Standing Rock. What's she gonna campaign on? How is she gonna go toe to toe with Pence? Pence, you're a meanie, and I'm a fighter. I fought big banks. Where legislation at? Oh, see about that. Hold up, real quick. Double back. Don't ask me about legislation like that. That's not fair. I thought this was supposed to be a fair fight. Nah. Pence would drag her. And then Trump would drag her to the point. And it would be so bad because now you're putting Bernie in a position to have to do what? You have to put Bernie, you're putting Bernie in a position where he would have to defend a fraud. Where people could easily look up Elizabeth Warren's record, and they would. If Trump made it national attention every single day. And that would be it. That would be it. That would be the end of Bernie's campaign. That very well may be the end of Bernie Sanders' movement. If he put himself in a position where he has to defend Elizabeth Warren every single day against Donald Trump, when the truth is right there. It's right there. It wouldn't be hard for anyone to find and verify. Just saying. I would love to know what your thoughts are about this. Like, share the comment, all right? Or share the video. Make sure you follow us on Rockfin. And like I said, for those of you all who have been emailing and DMing me video ideas and updates and things like that, look, I got it. I appreciate it. Like I said, I just got back from LA. I'm jet lagged like hell. I wasn't even gonna do these videos, but there's just so much going on right now. I had to do something. Plus I missed y'all pretty little faces. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning into that live stream segment of Mikasa Sukasa. And always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell if you like that segment of Mikasa Sukasa. Of course, if YouTube is giving you trouble, as it always does, you can download the Rockfin app and follow us there. Also, if you want to continue to help our show grow, you can help us reach our goal of 500 patrons on Patreon and donate as little as $1. Really, anything helps. Other than that, always remember, people, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.